Welcome to Prize Fighters, Circus Freaks, and Gangsters. I'm Greta.
And I'm Jamie.
And here we are at the season finale of Season 2 of Warrior, where we are looking at the fights and the aftermath, because there was a lot of both of those in the 19th century.
Yes. Yeah, if the 19th century was not short of revolutions and riots.
No.
I haven't really tallied them, but I mentioned it. In Mexico, they had an insane number of revolutions in the 19th century. I mean, it was dozens. So, and that's just Mexico. And we had a civil war in the United States.
Yeah, if you look at South and Central America and the Caribbean, all sort of like breaking away from their colonial powers, mainly Spain. It was mostly Spain. Some Portugal. Yeah, like every other weekend there was a new revolution.
All of Europe had a revolution in 1848. And then brutally crushed the progressives. Yeah. But, they all moved to the United States, so that was all right.
Yeah, so just like all of that, we had a big damn fight in the last episode, and now I talked about, hey, if a town ever had a hangover, this would be it. No. This is a town with a hangover.
Ooh, I've never rioted, but I would imagine it would be exhausting. And I have to give credit to the cardio on the man who painted the mural of Assam. This is a beautiful Chinese Connection looking painting up on the wall that he did apparently overnight.
Okay, before we get to that just yet, I love the script flip here. We have a woman dressed in like nice but like sensible clothing, walking through devastation, watching men clean up the mess.
She was sensible clothing. She was dressed like a Klingon. She looks like a Klingon warrior princess.
She's wearing pants, okay? And like not high heel shoes.
You can't see her ship because it's cloaked, but it is floating behind her, ready to just blast anybody who talks shit to her. Yeah, and so she sees the mural of Assam right before we see Toy and Assam checking out the Insta mural.
I laughed so hard. Just the look on her face. It's like, this is my worst nightmare.
Yeah. I hate this guy. I hate that Bob Barker.
So she just goes from like overwhelmed and sad, but now she's angry.
No, she's always angry. Mai Ling wakes up angry. She goes to sleep angry. There's never a time when she's not angry.
Okay, so she just has like little auxiliary overlay emotions.
Yeah, I think so. She's like most American males. They have, angry, and what was the other?
Yeah.
What was the other emotion?
Hitting
things.
Yeah,
hitting things, yeah. Angry and hitting things. That's basically Mai Ling, pretty much, yeah.
Except she's angry and telling other people to hit things.
No, she's angry and telling other people to kill somebody.
Yeah, okay, true. Let's be specific here, and that's true. So, yeah, her day, her week, her month has been ruined by this.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, again, that this episode should have been called Chinese Connection because the mural looks like the poster for Chinese Connection. Like, it is Bruce Lee's iconic pose with nunchucks. I owned this poster. Every male child in America owned this poster in the 90s. We all had a Bruce Lee poster. He was always posing with nunchucks. I don't know why this wasn't called Chinese Connection, but I'm not going to let it go.
It's me in the bonnets and you in the misnamed episodes. We each have our problems. Yep. We'll just have to live with them.
But then Toy busts into that iconic, I need a hero! What was that song? Who's that song?
Yes.
Because she needs a hero, and that hero is Assam.
So that's Bonnie Tyler.
Ah, yes.
And she had super duper big giant 80s hair. Iconic 80s hair.
And she does need a hero.
Yeah. But yeah.
She had her own personal hole in the ozone.
But yeah, Assam, I'm like, that look on his face, I wonder if he's trying to process how much trouble he's in by this mural of him appearing on the wall. And yeah, Atoy is definitely pulling out the drum solo, and we need a hero in the morning light. And yeah, he's like, wow, this is gonna be a lot of things. Oh, good God! But Atoy is definitely feeling her dark humor right now as well.
You think? Why does she think her? Why are you getting dark humor out of this?
She looks like she's kind of laughing at this whole situation, like. All of this went down, and now there you are up on the wall.
Well, she did say something along the lines of how they need somebody to step up and be the icon that everybody else can follow. And then now he is that, and he's on the wall, so he has... And she said something about how like you have to live up to that image. And now he has to live up to the image of the folk hero.
Yeah. And he tries to like walk back, and he's like, no, let's just talk you and me, Atoy. Looks like I got to go beat somebody up for you. And she's like, nope. I didn't leave anyone alive for you to punish.
Yeah, I don't need a hero. We need a hero. I got my shit handled.
Yeah, I will be curious to see if next season Patterson pops his head up above his snake in the grass level or not. Because that feels like a fuse kind of lit in the background that they might bring back around. We'll see.
I feel like his head's going to be on somebody else's sideboard pretty soon.
Before he manages to do anything.
Buckley's going to end up with that head on a platter in front of him or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, Assam is left thinking, what am I going to do about Oh, God. Okay.
Well, plus his head has to be totally turned around by the fact that Atoy was helped by Mai Ling.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to make the point that even the shittiest people have good inside them, and she's actually a good person. You maybe want to reevaluate. And he's like, nah, fuck that. She's horrible.
Yeah. and Atoy is like, yeah, but she is also Chinese, and the Chinese kind of need to stick together here more than usual. Like, we gotta get together, kids.
Yes.
Then Lee, after his own version of being in the riot, where he was going around bashing Irish last episode, who were bashing the Chinese. He shot the hell.
He shot the shit out of the one man. He shot that man all to pieces.
Yes, and so he walks up to the captain's desk, and he's like, here's my badge and my gun. I don't want to be anywhere near these cases. And O'Hara's like, no, you can't go. You're one of the good ones. Without the good ones, what are the cops? Just a bunch of thugs.
Yeah, and O'Hara goes, there's still a chance to do some good. And Lee goes, and line your own pockets. Like, he has an answer for everything. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many times it's been hit over the head. He's not going to be sold by O'Hara's bullshit.
Yeah, he's like, nope, I tried to do good, and look what it turned me into. I'm out there shooting citizens in the street.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of needed it, but I'm still doing it, and that's not what I wanted to be doing.
The guy who he shot was the guy who started the riot, so it really was, it was nice that guy caught some bullets.
Yes, but Lee, he's not seeing it that way, and O'Hara's like, oh God, I hope he'll be back. Like, if I don't have my foil, like, where am I?
And then he busts out his nuclear option, a Southern aphorism. And he says, you can teach a pig to hunt, but that don't make him a dog. And Lee's like, well, what's that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that analogy is so great because it's so apt. Mm-hmm. A pig is not going to be a dog. A pig's smarter than a dog. It's also scarier than a dog.
Oh my God.
It can be nicer than a dog, and it can be meaner than a dog.
Yeah.
But what it can also do is eat you so that no one even knew you were there.
Oh, I mean, this is the thing that all of, like, the Charlotte's Web and Babe, Pig in the City, like, all of these cutesy pigs we forgot. Pigs are terrifying. And it only takes them about two generations to go back to, like, the scary, bristly forest hogs, and they start getting tusks. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and then they weigh 1,000 pounds.
I mean, why do you think so many Greek myths, the hero is killed by a wild boar? The wild boars just trashed the Greek nobility.
Yeah, I didn't even know that, but it makes it even more amazing, because when he said that, I just burst out laughing, and I was like, Yeah, you're actually probably better off teaching a pig how to hunt. I mean, I love dogs, but like pigs are born to murder, so they'll probably kill the thing for you.
On the other hand, if you're like hunting it to bring it home and serve on the table, dog is better because you can call the dog off the deer so you can actually eat it yourself. You're never going to get that pig off of that deer.
Jesus, can you imagine somebody out there hunting in the woods with an attack pig just chewing the heads off deer? My God, that would be the scariest thing that's ever happened.
There's actually a journal entry that I read about some guys kind of wandering around the woods of Massachusetts or something, and they actually saw where some wolves had killed a deer, and like a pack of pigs came and chased the wolves off the deer.
Damn. I don't know what kind of noise a pig makes when it's like barking or angry, but I imagine it's as scary as it's screaming.
Duh. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
No, thank you.
But yeah, we get Lee deserting.
And I still think that that's apt. I think that O'Hara fancies himself a sheepdog. He may not be the best sheepdog in the world, but he's a sheepdog, damn it.
Yeah.
And Lee is a wild boar who shaved himself and is trying to pass as a pig.
Yeah, I did think it was kind of interesting too that Lee is running away from like this person he doesn't want to be, and he's really thinking about the cop part, but he's also getting away from the people who know anything about Lee. And that always strikes me as interesting when people want to sort of like leave things behind. Like he's got his whole kind of drug problem that he just doesn't want to deal with, and any sort of support system that he kind of maybe a little bit had with the O'Haras, he's like, fuck them too. Like he's just diving headfirst into his drug addiction hard now.
As a person who's dabbled in these things, I can say, and it was actually precipitated by a car accident I got into with a seatbelt and flipped a car a couple of times. I don't know how I lived through that, but there were some head injuries, and so I can say that this is very accurate. It's very, very accurate. Watching his meltdown.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
I resemble it.
It looked believable, and okay.
Especially as you're trying to cling to your nobility while you know that on the inside you're shit.
Yeah, you just can't face the people who might know anything about you.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got through that, and you're over here on the other side.
Well, thank you.
I mean, a rough time, but you've got good stories, and you help the rest of us from getting too complacent in how good we are. Shit goes down, man.
Yeah, and it's I think a lot more people probably go through these things than, well, at least in the past they did. I mean, people used to have drying out periods. I'd use air quote drying out periods all of the time. I mean, it was a common thing. But you can't take 2 weeks to dry out from a job now. You'll be fired. So you just have to soldier on, which means you day drink and keep it quiet, and then it just eventually the wheels fall off.
Right, and sort of the puritanical aspect of it, like, hey, you can't let anybody know that you're having problems comes, like, that's just, our society is, it's very schizophrenic about it right now, but in the past it was like, you can't let anybody know anything's wrong ever, because just admitting you have a problem was like, well, we're disqualifying the hell out of you now.
Yeah, or it looks like you're begging for sympathy when in fact you're just like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Could somebody help me out? And people are like, oh, poor me, this, that, and they just say all these platitudes, and it's like, none of that shit helps. Like, I don't know what I need, because you don't know what you need when you're in that. But what you need is a hug. Right. You need a hug. So if you know somebody's going through that shit, give that person a hug.
And just sort of listen to them.
Yeah. They need to know that they can be safe, that they're safe, I think. Safety would be in them. Safe to be them. Because initially you just have to be safe to be like, I'm a drunken mess, I'm trying to figure it out, but like, I'm not going to clean my shit up exactly right now because I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing. And, it's a process. It's not like you're flipping on the light. And a lot of people seem to think that, like, oh, well, they count days and all that shit. And it's just like, just do the best you can every day.
Yeah. Well, speaking of some guys who have been through some shit and are starting to see some changes in themselves, we've got Father June and Young June just sort of sitting there looking around and reassessing things.
And my God, this was another scene that I felt very, very sympathetic to, because Father June says, we grow old on the outside, but on the inside I'm still 25 and itchy as shit. And that's a dangerous feeling for a man my age. And it's when you have a lot of responsibilities, but you still want to fight everything on Earth. It leaves you with a lot of confliction, and you might seem frustrated more often than you need to be. It's not because you hate the world. It's because you don't know how you're supposed to behave.
I mean, the fact that, he's sharing this with young June, that was like the most useful fatherly advice, I swear to God, he's probably ever given him. That's right up there with admitting, I'm not doing this because I'm not scared. I'm scared shitless, but I'm doing this because it's an important thing to do.
Yeah.
But I did have to say, seeing these two guys sitting on a bench, a backless bench, you're like, these two are trained fighters. You don't sit like that. Like, even young June, sort of in that relaxed posture, you could see how much training is in his body. I was just impressive at what they looked like sitting on this bench.
I don't know what you mean. I've never even heard of a person being impressed by the way somebody sat, so could you explain?
Well, like, if most of us sit down on a bench, sort of our lower back is going to kind of bulge out. We're going to kind of have this sort of slump in it. And the way these guys are sitting on this bench, you can just see the strength in their core. Because even when young June is relaxed, you can just sort of see this uprightness, this tautness, this, like, that is a man who trains hard.
I think it also, it belies kind of their aristocratic status, because that posture is always really drilled into you. With your upper middle class shit, you want to look like the upper class, so you have posture is important. Pull the string on the top of your head, sit up straight, and all that. So
but the fact that these actors are doing that, and I don't know how much of that is their character and just the fact that these guys train hard and it's just inured into them. But I was just like, wow, damn. Impressive.
I don't think that actor has ever slouched in his entire life. I don't get that impression. I don't think he puts up with slouching. He seems like a man who puts up with very little nonsense.
Very, very true. But yeah, I also love the moment because it was, I swear to God, it was kind of the first, like, truly, like, eye-to-eye adult conversation these guys had. And it was very adult.
Yeah, I think he kind of crossed the Rubicon with Father June, where he now has Father June's respect and his appreciation, because as he says, the weight's off Father June now. He doesn't have that worry anymore, about that untouchable worry that just lingers in the back of his head. Like, that's all young June's shit now, and he can have it.
I swear to God, this is one of the only, if not just a few, but to me it felt like the only time I had seen in one of these TV shows or movies or whatever, where you have a father who has power and it passes on to the son, and the father does it with good grace. That is so rare. And not just in film, like in life too. Somebody saying, you know what? It's time. You did a thing, and I'm gonna put this down and let you have it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a tough thing for men, because you kind of have that expectation that you need to outdo your dad, but by the same token, the dad doesn't want to be outdone by the son. So there is this constant battle throughout your life to nobody ever says a fucking thing about it. It's just like, have I achieved whatever that goalpost is? But you can't achieve the goalpost because he's still moving the fucking thing. So
moving goalposts.
Basically, the only time the competition ends is when they're dead, and then it's still very unclear. It's still unclear in your head. The whole thing's a mess, and I don't know how much psychological treatment could be given to that to fix it. Yeah. I don't even know if it's fixable.
I don't know.
But it is a competition that goes on no matter what.
But I was pretty gobsmacked at how they did this, and they did this with grace, and damn, it was well written. It didn't even seem hokey.
I will add that the IRL ending to what happened in that scene would have been Father June turning to young June and saying the thing every man has heard from his dad: no matter what happens, first 30 seconds are mine. That every dad will say that. It gets progressively shorter over time. First minute and a half, first minute, 30 seconds, maybe 15 seconds if he's on his deathbed. But he'll still say he can get you on his deathbed.
But yeah, that was just a notable scene for so many reasons. Anyway, so that was like a hot damn world-stopping moment. But then we get back to Buckley, and he is just loving this. He is doing his transition. He is just rolling in his new position and loving it.
Blames the riot on the Chinese. Those people brought it on themselves. If they hadn't been Chinese, we wouldn't have had to burn down Chinatown.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, and then you have some of the rich guys who are like, hey, that's not fair. We have to use the Chinese,
He put them in a position where they had to use the Chinese.
Right. And rich guys like, see, I have principles. I have principles and friends in high places. And Buckley's like, principles, eh? How about some money? It's like, I like money.
Yeah, he's on the take from everybody. It's he's such a scumbag. It's amazing. He plays this character so well, that actor.
And he is about to turn that scumbaggery up to 11 and a half. Woo.
Yeah, he really is. Because Penny comes at Buckley over his handling of the riot and Jacob, and he keeps pointing out, quite rightly, that she benefited from all this. If she could just stop being pissed off for 10 seconds, she has Blake's money, she has her dad's money, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. All she has to do is shut the fuck up.
But principles, principles. Penny has her principles.
Yeah, you're talking to a guy who has fucked himself over so many times in his life over his goddamn principles. And it's so irritating to see other people do it. It just reminds me of all the things I fucked up in my life. But over principles that don't matter.
Yeah, Buckley is laying out the abuser talk. Like, he is just like, the cops roll up to any sort of domestic dispute, and the guy's like, she is just, just out of control. Her mind, her little tiny lady mind is just very confused. I was like,
I think she's probably on her period. So,
yeah.
You might want to watch Not Get Any Blood on You.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was like, he was just rolling out the classics once again.
He really was.
That
guy really should not ever let a woman that he likes watch that show before they start dating. Maybe be like, this is a show I was on. This is not me, but it's a show I was on. It was a really good show, but, show them that down the line. I don't think women would like to see this part of that actor beforehand.
Whoa. Yeah, and boy, Penny, with her principles, she still hasn't figured out that you cannot come straight for Buckley.
No, and I will say that the voice that she does, and I've mentioned this before with that weird warble in it, that is a crazy voice. Mm-hmm. And it does belie craziness. And I'm not saying that she deserves any of the things that are coming, but she now sounds like a woman who's out of her mind. And so as she's walking out of this bar, she says, you like pulling people's strings? Let's see how you like it when I get people to pull your strings. And it's like, oh, she's going to end up institutionalized. Right then and there, I was like, she's going to the nuthatch. That's where she's headed. And he gave her he was like, I'm giving you an option, an apple or a knife.
Yes.
If you choose the apple, you can go be happy and free. You choose the knife, I'm going to stab you in the face with it. And she chose the knife right then and there.
Yep. Unfortunately, what I wrote in my notes was, Penny really needs to go watch the webinar Toy and Mai Ling should be writing up right now. But yeah, Penny does, like, as much as I bag on Sophie for not thinking about consequences, Penny also has a pretty simplistic and protected view of the world.
The first time he made the point, you benefited from this, I stopped the thing and I was like, let's see how she benefits. And then I was like, oh, because, in the light of the panel that we're doing, and so women without, any male support, this is the ultimate position for a woman in the 19th century to be
Being a rich widow?
She is in control of her husband's...
Yeah.
She could just have a lawyer do everything. She doesn't have to do shit. She sits on top of her money and wins. That's it.
That's what Nellie is doing.
She's got 2 piles of money to sit on. She could fucking finance the steel company again if she wanted to. This woman could do anything she wants, but all she wants to do is fuck with Buckley because she's a lunatic over a man she hated in the first place.
Right. Ugh. But anyway, we get back to...
I get it, because the man is disgusting and infuriating. But
yeah, like, just sort of like, Jacob getting strung up, like, these are things you can't avoid. There's nobody who's going to save you.
It's over. So you throwing that money away doesn't bring that man magically to life.
No, but we get back to Young Jun and Assam, and Young Jun, I feel like, has had a life-changing experience here. Like, it's going to take a while for how all those changes are going to settle out, but he is a different guy than before his dad saved his ass like that.
Yeah, now he appreciates him, and he worries that he can't live up to his example, which, again, is something that with which most men, I think, can probably relate. He also says that he's like, it's like he knew that I needed him, and he just appeared out of nowhere, and he was there, and he saved my life. And I think we all have that thing happen with our parents. How do parents know that we need you? How do you just appear? Does something go off in your head? You get an alarm?
I don't know. You worry about them. Even when they seem to be pretty competent. Even when they annoy the fuck out of you. But,
So it's basically just worrying. You just worry and you figure out all of the possible things that could happen, and then you prepare for them in your mind. So you're ready.
Well, my favorite author has a quote about children. Children may or may not be a blessing, but to fail them is surely damnation.
Ooh. Yep. And that is a great summation of why I have never wanted to have them. The idea of that level of responsibility stops my breath in my chest. That it makes me so anxious I can't breathe. So I don't know how you do it, but congratulations.
Well, he's doing pretty good so far. Good kid. Anyway, yeah, and I don't think Youngjun knows how exactly he's going to react to this, how it's going to sort of filter through his life, but he's a changed guy, and I was just really impressed with the writing and then also the way that Jason Tobin acted this scene. I was like, that was good. That was really good.
It was really, really realistic. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah. So we get back to Mai Ling, and she has kind of reached out, and not to be trusted, but she's reached out, and that makes Assam uncomfortable.
Well, I don't think it makes it that uncomfortable, because when she reaches out, and then Young Jun is like, well, I'm gonna fucking tell her what I think about her, and Assam laughs, and he's like, yeah, she's gonna love that dipshit. He doesn't say the dipshit, it's the dipshit silent, but he just looks at him like, are you fucking kidding me? God damn,
have you met this woman? Yeah.
And I felt for Assam there, and at that point he's like, I usually don't want to be leader of this Tong, but right now I'm thinking I might need to drown this man.
Yeah. But yeah, Young Jun's like, well, okay, I'm gonna try out this grown-up thing. Let's see how that goes.
And then we move to Assam is with Atoy, and as they're chatting, in comes Nellie Davenport.
Yeah.
Oh, my dear, what can I do for you? But she's speaking in Cantonese. So yes. Assam's looking at her like, what is happening?
Yes.
And he goes, who the fuck are you to her? And she goes, how do you speak English? And he's like, well, I only speak broken Cantonese. What is happening? That was an amazing scene.
Yeah. No, it is definitely a turnabout here. Usually Assam's the man who's got everything on lockdown. He's got everything figured out now that he's working for Atoy, and he is just wrong-footed in every direction. He's not protecting Atoy. Atoy's protecting herself. She's off doing shit, and he's the one who's sitting in the brothel going, what the fuck is going on out there?
Then when he sees the two of them together, he's like, oh, this makes sense. And then he just backs out of the room like, it was nice to meet you.
It's like, well, nope, I have nothing to add here. I will, And Nellie, she just wants to I want to take you away from this all.
The most cliched cowboy scene of all time, except now it's with two women. A madam and an anti-madam instead of a cowboy and a lady.
Yeah, and it is really funny how, like, the power dynamics are just, like, how they'd normally be written in any scene between any people. Like, they are just all clashing because these are two powerful women, and, yeah, one needs help right now. But it is really funny sort of seeing this chaotic power going on.
Yeah, and I love all the Western tropes. It's so much fun to see the Western tropes piled in on top of the martial arts tropes.
There's some delicious
martial arts Westerns have got to be some of my favorite movies and things of all time.
And the fact that they're adding in new characters by making the women actually complex characters makes it, for me, 1,000 times more fun.
Imagine women are people with brains and thoughts and feelings and their own motivations that have nothing to do with any man.
And you can actually have them drive the story without just making them dead. And that being the reason for the story.
Yeah, or without being a person for two people to fight over and then win as a trophy, which genuinely has never made any sense to me. Although it makes more sense than winning a ski race to win the girls'
Oh, the 1980s. Goddamn.
Did you ever get to be a ski race trophy?
No. I was always too sarcastic from much too early an age.
You did not have the full 80s high school experience, I guess.
Yeah. No. Sarcasm came to me early, and that tends to limit your ski bunny opportunities. No, I'm okay with it now. Speaking, I was bad at meekness, and you know who else is bad at meekness? Mai Ling, but she is gonna give it a try.
That must be why we get along so goddamn well. It's our complete lack of meekness. I don't have that gene.
I tried it out for several years, and it, just like with Mai Ling, it had its utility. She is trying on meekness for its utility here, and Young June is gonna make it even harder for her to try to be meek.
Yeah, boy, he fights her every time she's like, all right, I'm sorry about the shit that happens. Yeah, I bet you're fucking sorry about the shit that happened because we kicked your ass. Yeah, so as I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, so I'm sorry. Yeah, because we kicked your fucking ass. Oh, god damn this guy. I mean, it just went like that the whole time. I've never had an interaction like that, but I would have smacked him in the face.
And she's like, okay. Well, how about we try being partners? He's like, partners? What happened to your last partners? They're dead. You know why? Because we killed them.
And then she's like, oh yeah? Well, this is awkward because you're partnered with my brother, so that's, oh, you didn't know? You didn't know
what?
that Assam's my brother? The guy standing behind you? That's my brother? We had the same parents?
We hadn't mentioned that.
Oh.
He hadn't mentioned that?
Whoops.
You didn't know this.
And then Hong's got a mouthful of food, looks up and goes, oh shit.
Yeah, that was like, this is so extreme. Hong stopped eating.
Even Lee Yong was amused. He's smiling about it after she drops that bombshell. Like, I don't know why you did that, and you maybe should have told me that you were doing it, but that's hilarious. And she was like, I had no idea I was going to do it.
Oh, and so now I'm sort of curious, like, do I go back to season 1 and sort of like trace how this information moved around? Because it's sort of like it was known to people, but it's the kind of thing people weren't spreading. It was, because,
it seems like everybody fucking knew except for Mai Ling. She is literally the only person in Chinatown who's unaware. Or, I mean, not Mai Ling, Young June.
Yeah. Well, remember, because Wang Chao
because Father June even intimated that he knew at some point. I don't remember what's, like, I even wrote it down. I was like, ooh, Father June knows.
Yeah. No, well, that's sort of an interesting piece of information. But anyway, so the glove is on the other hand. Mai Ling perks right up. You know, she feels like she's got the power in this exchange. And Yeah.
And then Hong pops up and is like, well, it's a tough situation. Let's eat some dumplings and sit down and talk about this before you guys kill each other.
Yeah, yep.
But I love that Hong's suggestion is, let's eat more food.
Let's eat more food. Yes.
Who's hungry? This guy is.
Hanuman. He's always, got the mango in his hand and he's just chatting and munching.
He's got the mango in his hand and a rope around his neck.
Yes, yeah. But young June's like, God damn it, being the boss is hard.
And then Penny goes to the press, which, predictable. And the second that she walks into that press man's office and she's like, I'm going to give you the scoop of your life. I'm a rich lady, yes, but the person that I'm going up against can kill you and he's richer. And you just watch him making the calculations like, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great.
Well, see, I thought it was interesting. Penny's like, well, I can't go after Buckley this way or this way because, he's got all of sort of the official power tied up. And so she's thinking, well, maybe this third leg, the press, he doesn't have all tied up. She'd be wrong.
Yeah. With all the money she's sitting on, I feel like she could have sat back, thought it through maybe a little bit. Gone to Mai Ling's guy. There's options. She had options at her disposal, and she chose not to use any of the good ones and go right to the press.
No, Penny, she might be good at algebra and balancing the books, but when it comes to manipulating people, she is bad. B-A-D, terrible. Because,
her bedside manner is bad.
Because you look at sort of how she would always, get Sam Blake into a corner and then she'd kick him in the shins one extra time and you're like, no, she is not good at people.
No. She's like the dudes in Call of Duty who talk shit after they win, which doesn't make any sense. When you're calling your opponents trash after you beat them, that means you're shit too because you just beat people who suck. It doesn't make any sense. And she does the exact same thing where she's just needling people after she wins, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You already won, lady. It's over. Just move on. But she cannot.
She cannot. And then we get back to young June, who has a big mat on. He is now so angry about Assam. He can't think for a second. But after he hits Assam, he's like, nope, I'm not going to kill him. So actually, he maybe has grown up a little bit.
Well, I will say that in my personal experience, the lie of omission is an order of magnitude worse than a direct lie. And I'm just speaking personally from having lied to my mom through lies of omission, and the beatings that I caught as a child over it instilled in me the knowledge that lies of omission are worse than regular lies. So I don't feel as though he's under or overreacting here. But Hong does point out that Assam had no good play. He couldn't tell young June because young June would have killed him out of hand. And so he had to keep it a secret, but he had the opportunity to fuck him over and never did. So he made the right play insofar as a right play could have been made.
Yeah, no, this is where I'm like, I love Hong. He is cheerful chaos. And he manages to deliver maybe there is no right answer in a way that allows everybody to move on. I love him. He's great.
I have a friend who's exactly like Hong. It's amazing. He's like Winnie the Pooh. The dude is the best. He's like the warm center of any place. It's amazing. And Hong is exactly like him.
Yeah. So we leave that and we go into Leary in his bar, and everything is terrible, and he's just wandering around and
So this is the third time I've watched this episode at least, and the first time that I understood why he was bashing the shit out of this piano, because he's throwing a tantrum on this piano, looking super hot in a 3-button Henley, and I was like, ooh, I need to order some 3-button Henleys watching that. And then but it's my third time watching it, and he sits down at the piano and he starts to kind of touch the keys, and then he starts banging on them like Chunk in the Goonies, and it's over Sophie. He's pining for Sophie, and he's Right? That's what's happened. And he's thinking about her playing the piano, playing Beethoven or whatever, and that's
and there
why
was
he's
another
having his
aspect to that as well, because like he's kind of got his hands over the piano. I'm like, if he starts playing the piano, like, but yeah, he starts bashing. I'm like, oh, and he's kind of doing the I was reaching too high. Never could have had Sophie. I was deluded. So I think he's thinking about Sophie, but he's also mad at himself for like thinking he could reach that. Like he was Icarus.
He was Icarus, and he flew too close to the sun.
Yes. So there was Leary was having emotions, and since he had more than angry, he had to hit things.
There you go. He had to go to emotion 2. He did emotion 1, then he had to go to emotion 2. And then O'Hara, with the greatest timing ever, pops in and is like, hey, let's have a drink.
Yeah, it was sort of like, O'Hara, at last. Or I guess they'd kind of chatted before, but like I feel like this is the first time they've really kind of like, all right, we both want to drink and mope, and let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And then Lee goes back to, and so when I had accidentally watched this episode instead of season 1, episode 10, and I got totally confused and we had to re-record that entire episode. This was what I was talking about when he goes into the Barbary Coast bar and gets a job, and we were very confused for that 20 minutes. But now now you understand my confusion.
Yes, but I was like, wow, I guess so your third visit to the bar was the lucky one, because the first time he went in there and got jackrolled. The second time he went into the bar, he trashed the bar and everyone in it.
Yeah, he beat everyone down.
And so this time he's like, well, I need a job and a girlfriend.
And guess what? I've already proven I can kick the shit out of everybody in here, so give me that job and a girlfriend.
And then we go back to O'Hara and Leary, and now they are drinking and moping. I'm becoming a cop to police a bunch of foreigners. I'm like, aren't you a foreigner?
They are discussing the hero's journey. Did you notice that?
No. Like, I'm familiar with that, but so lay it out.
Okay, so there's like 5 stages to a hero's journey in ancient myths. But the basically you can't become a hero, and this is what I tell any guy who's like, I don't really know any women who go through the traditional like 40s meltdown that seems to be going on for every guy I know, but like it's...
Oh, we just do it differently.
Oh, okay. Yeah, every guy I know
different accessories. Yeah.
Falls apart. I think it's 2008 screwed us all up. But anyway, so every hero has somewhere in their story something that's called the Road of Trials, and it's just life falls apart. It is kicking your fucking ass, and that's what Leary and O'Hara are talking about. Like, our wives have left us. Everybody's against us. The world is kicking our fucking ass.
Somebody shot our dog. Our truck got repoed. Yeah.
But they want to be good men. They want to be better men. And that is where the next stage is atonement. So they're working through trying to atone for the evils of their past. And they're trying to become better men. And that is part of every Greek tragedy, every good story you've ever read, all of the Marvel movies. Every hero has a downfall and then a rebirth as the second version of himself. And they start out a dickhead, a psychotic, violent dickhead, and then they have their downfall and they come back a changed person who's noble and good and etc.
And I think people try to shortcut that because they don't realize you have to give up something and you have to gain a new skill.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Because people want to sort of be who they were and just like get better at it. I'm like, that's you don't get to go to the next phase. You don't like, my son who's really into video games explains that in bad video games, you just continue to be the same person and just get better at stuff to beat the final boss. But the good video games, you get trashed and you lose something and then you gain something entirely new. And I realize like that's super oversimplified, but people try to skip that part.
That is a really good point, and a lot of us delude ourselves into thinking we can skip that part. We just have to go harder and harder and harder, And, well, at least on the guy side, I can't speak for the female side. But
yeah, same with women. Don't worry about it.
is it? Okay, yeah.
Different
especially in
accessories.
America. My God. And the era we were raised in, it was like, if you're not succeeding, it's because you didn't work hard enough, so go harder. And we just kept going harder and going harder and going harder. And eventually, there is no harder. You just fall to pieces. And that's when you have to pick yourself up and say, all right, well, that clearly didn't fucking work. What can I do to succeed?
Yeah. Their whole thing at the end there about, we know these are good women because good women get angry. Their interpretation of that was one, and I was like, yeah, but if you're an interesting guy who's going to have a fulfilling and interesting life, you don't want a woman who won't stand up for herself.
No, but I don't think that's what they were saying, because he said good women get angry because they know men like us know we have no business loving them, and they can't forgive themselves for loving us. So we pay for it because our fucking reach has exceeded our grasp.
Yes. No, that was definitely a guy putting emotional clothes on a woman.
How do you mean?
That she can't forgive herself for loving a scumbag like me. That's not what it's about. I mean, that's how they're reading it. But it's like, no, I'm not mad at myself for loving you. I might be disappointed that you're being an asshole and I know you can be better. But I mean, yeah, I guess some women have that level of self-hatred, but he was really, really putting some emotional clothes on this fictional woman.
Yeah. Well, and also, she's just mad at you because you're being a fucking idiot.
Right.
She's not mad at herself.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. And then they say I was once a better man, and then maybe the time will come when we can be again. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to Lee and Abigail, the bartender, and Lee's going, I killed a man once. And then she's going, I killed a man too. And so it's a really fun, they go back and forth between Lee and O'Hara being like, yeah, we gotta be tough guys, and it's tough to be a tough guy, and women they're in a tough spot because they gotta love us. And it's like, no, they're legally not humans, so they're stuck to you for the remainder of their lives until you fucking die. And they're pissed off because you're a drunken piece of shit.
Yeah. But, we go down to Bad Idea Girlfriend Town Central.
Oh.
I mean, I was just dying. Like, I had this little imaginary conversation in my head. Like, they show up to an event, so somebody goes, so how did you two meet? It was the cutest thing. I came into the bar and I really was jonesing, so she drugged me and stole all my money and let me lie in it.
That is a brutal meet cute. That's not a story you want to tell to anybody, I don't think. Well, I was a vicious heroin addict. That's not a good start.
And then I came and I broke up our bar, and anyway, now we're together.
Yeah. That's like when one of your friends introduces you to a girl they met in rehab. You're like, all right, buddy. We've all tried that. That's,
I will have to tell you about the 13th step sometime.
I'm well aware of the 13th
step.
Okay.
But, I mean, because it's women who bear the brunt of that one. Woof.
What?
Oh, the term the 13th step was invented. Like, it's sort of where people go into these terrible relationships at the end of recovery. But a woman came to AA, and at first they wouldn't let women in AA because women can't be alcoholics. But they finally let her in because she's like, no, God damn it, I need help and there isn't anywhere for me to go. And she finished, like, once she was sort of in recovery, then she entered into just like a string of abusive relationships with the people who ran AA, and that's where the term 13th step came from.
I didn't know it went back that far. I knew that Bill W. was a piece of shit, but I didn't know... Jesus Christ. That's a whole... I'm not going to go into that. I'm not
yeah,
okay.
That is the deep, dark... Well, nope, that's not what we're... Nope, that's the 20th century.
Yeah. Let's talk about heroin addicts. Heroin addicts are having sex. The reporter goes to Buckley and in regards to Mrs. Blake. We're getting off this topic.
Yes. Mr. Race goes to Buckley and says, Sue, I was offered some money, but you used to offer me more money.
Yeah. I mean, you saw him thinking about it as he was. I mean, Penny is just clueless in this. It's
clueless. Yeah. She doesn't understand how people work.
I mean, we needed a blind man in the background to be like, "You're fucking stupid." I can see his facial expression from here, yelling it from across the street.
Yep. So this leg of power is also Buckley's. Race is like, yep. I have an idea of how to get a little more money. Mm-hmm.
But he's like, yeah, just tell her that I ran you off. You came to me with the story, and I ran you off. The truth, because Buckley loves fighting people with the truth.
That's why I say he is lawful evil. He uses the rules for bad.
Oh yeah. He really steps that up later on in this episode, too.
But anyway, awesome.
The mural that was done overnight. I have to say again, being from the city of murals, murals take a long time to paint. I don't paint them, but I've seen them painted.
Right.
And they take more than 8 hours by candlelight. And
this guy didn't even have spray paint.
That's just quite a mural. No, that man is a magician.
Yes. But awesome goes in.
He passes that mural to walk into Leary's bar.
To the Banshee. He goes into the Banshee. Like, even though there are no records yet, I heard the record scratch.
Yep.
And most of the...
He doesn't just go into that bar, though. He goes in, sits down, pours himself a shot, and kicks over a chair for Leary.
Well, but there was again another scene that we missed where... he came in and most of the people are in there like, oh, fuck, I don't want any of this. And they back up. But clearly a couple guys did go in and they're decorating the floor when Leary shows up.
I completely went right past that because just him kicking the chair, because that was obvious, but him kicking the chair over to Leary, that's gangster as hell.
Yes. And my people bled for the country. You people are bleeding it dry. And Asam's like, so here's the thing.
His lines in this exchange were amazing. I thought my favorite one, though, was when Leary opens with, how ddid you learn to speak English? And he goes, because it's really fucking easy. Oh! Yeah. Oh! It was so good. So they head outside for a fight.
Yes.
And I have to say, I recently dug up training footage for this guy who's considered to be one of the hardest punchers of all time. His name was Harry Greb. Mm-hmm. And Leary's fighting style in this is pretty dead on to Harry Greb's fighting style. So if any of you guys want to look it up, his last name's spelled Greb. And there's some training footage of him fighting. There's no actual boxing footage. Mm-hmm. But it's a little sloppy. They throw a lot of haymakers, and a lot of the punches are thrown from your waist.
Yeah.
And that was dead on for what Leary's doing in this fight. It was a really, really well choreographed fight.
Yeah, the way he's holding up his knuckles in there, I was just like, that, nice. Just pulling it right off the photos. It looked
really did. Good. And so he's employing dirty boxing in there. At one point he steps on Asam's foot and then punches him in the face.
Yes!
Yeah, which was a great move. And he follows it with your favorite, the Superman punch, which is a modern invention. Yes. But then Asam, I like to call it hulks up, like Hulk Hogan used to.
Yeah.
And he fully hulks up, and then Superman punches back to prove that, this is such a trope, like a cliched trope, but that prove that he can beat him at his own game. There's that back and forth.
And you talk about Bruce Lee sort of watching boxing, enjoying boxing, trying out boxing moves, like that. I saw that leaking through here too.
Oh yeah, and that again goes back to Chinese Connection and him adopting the style of a Western fighter when he was fighting a Western fighter. And then just as in the Bruce Lee, really every martial arts movie where they have this giant Western fighter versus a smaller Asian fighter, they adopt the Western style to show that they can bang it out and they're just as tough as the West. But then they realize, oh shit, there's weight classes for a fucking reason. Maybe I should try evading and using some of the other shit I know.
Maybe I should slip a few punches, which, they They had, again, Brett Chan, hardest working fight coordinator in the business. Oh my God.
Yeah, that dude is amazing. He is amazing. And, so we got a little capoeira in there as he's showcasing the fight styles that he's learned from fighting in Barbary Coast. It was really fun, and they just kept going back and forth. Assam hulks up twice, then Leary hulks. Assam breaks Leary's hand by blocking a punch. And Leary hulks up by just clenching his hand, just clenching his hand as hard as he can, breaks all the bones back into place, punches Assam with his broken hand.
But we get the 2-foot spin kick, but then...
he hits him with a Dimmock heart punch first, and then hits him with a spinning double jump kick.
Yeah, but the Dimmock comes after Leary puts the boot print on him.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a great fight. And at the end, Assam has literally become the man on the wall. He has crushed Leary, even though he looks as bad as Atoy after this fight.
Yeah. Like, he was sort of jealous of Atoy. I can't have the pretty face, even though he is looking pretty rough, even at the start of this episode.
Yeah, he's about to limp his ass right to an opium den.
Yeah. Whew. But this is one of those, like, writer-actor things. Somehow they get his shirt and coat back. So he walks away from the fight carrying his shirt and his coat. And I was like, for those continuity people, that was a gift.
Was it really? Do people actually watch for that shit?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's shameful. People need hobbies. Like a real actual hobby. I don't know.
You're nonplussed. But I noticed it, and then, so he can wear it at
Everybody
the end.
should start watching everything out of order like I do. It's much more entertaining that way. It's way
much
better.
more entertaining.
My way is superior. I will convince you of this. Chronology it's pointless. It's outdated. It's
Overrated.
Time is a fiction.
But yes, Father June understands, if he's going to, he is the guy who he is. He managed to have this great kind of handing over of power. He had these great moments with his son. And then he's like, you know what? If I stay around, I'm just going to fuck this up.
He has learned from George Costanza. He leaves on a high note.
Yes. Okay. I was going to bring up George, but nope. Yep. We're both
I beat you to it?
Damn. Same thing. Oh, except Father June is a better man than George Costanza in so many ways because he actually does it.
Because he is not a fat, balding, dull-witted man. I enjoyed Seinfeld.
But yeah, we do definitely get Wong Chow and Father June being the old guard as Father June says to Chow, like, hey, let him know I'm off on a new adventure. And this time by choice.
And in the scene, you could really see he and Chow have a lot of history that hasn't really been discussed. And I was like, oh, shit, now I want to know more about their old history. Like, we need prequels.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, they've been working together a long time. I mean, clearly Chow has been supplying weapons to the Hop Way for a long time, facilitating, fighters coming in and out, moving the opium around. Like, he's been Father June's fixer for a long time, for sure.
Yeah, and he actually bows to Father June and agrees to tell young June that Father June has left, which I found fascinating because he's really gone so hard at maintaining his independence that bowing it indicated that he definitely has picked a side. He just hasn't made it official.
Right. Well, and part of Wong Chow's brand is he keeps everything close to the chest. Like, he's never going to tell anybody all of it.
That's true. Well, I mean, Switzerland says they're neutral, but they're neutral with a flavor.
Yeah. Vanilla is still a flavor, absolutely.
Vanilla became popular in the 1800s, right? It wasn't artificial.
Late 1800s.
Yeah, vanilla was artificial developed in the late 1800s.
You don't even have vanilla in cookbooks until the middle of the 1800s.
Well, they didn't know how to pollinate the orchid that creates vanilla, right?
Right.
It's really, you have to pull the thistle out of one and the pistil and boink them personally or something. I don't know
right,
exactly
because
how it
normally a bug crawls
force sex
inside.
between them.
Yeah, normally a bug crawls inside and does it. Like, that's one of those things. Like, people didn't understand that pollination was a thing. Like, you knew you needed bees somehow, but they didn't understand the science of what was going on. I mean, cellular division and all of this stuff. People are figuring this out in the 1800s. So the fact that pollination is a thing that needs to happen, like, I'm sure there were people who sort of like lived in non-Western societies who sat around and watched plants and figured it out. Like the whole thing with indigenous people in America understanding the importance of corn pollen, but sort of understanding like scientifically how pollination works. That's happening right now in the 1800s.
Well, I mean, it was wild. I remember learning about the vanilla thing, and it was like harder than getting pandas to have sex, trying to figure out how to make the orchids propagate.
Right. But if you look in cookbooks, vanilla does not even appear in most cookbooks until like after the Civil War. And
it's so funny because now we're like, vanilla's lame, but it's really important, and you can't even make other flavors without vanilla in a lot of cases.
Right. Right.
But we are totally off track.
Yeah. Anyway, vanilla's a flavor. Wong Chow doesn't tell everybody what he's doing, and neither does Buckley.
Nope. He goes full Tyler Durden. This was right out of Fight Club. Do you want to set this up?
You do it, but I'm just agreeing with you. Oh, man.
So Penny's going at him, and he's kind of brushing her off again, all chill. But then she goes and slaps him. And we know Buckley does not like to be touched. But she also cuts his cheek, and he loses his fucking mind, turns exactly into Ed Norton from Fight Club, and instead of beating himself up, he stabs himself in the shoulder with a letter opener and then blames it on Penny.
Oh, I mean, the going in, Penny storms in there. I'm like, don't go at him directly. No, Penny, no. And just that line. So you're buying reporters now. Don't be ridiculous. I've been buying reporters for years. I'm like, run away.
Yeah, he even said, how do you think I kept your husband's infidelity out of the papers? Yes. Like, again, bitch, I did you a favor. Can you please just let it go?
Run, Penny, run. It's your last chance.
Oh, she did not help matters by shrieking, he stabbed himself, the entire way out the door. Like, she is, like, right then and there, that bitch is going to the nuthatch. Like...
Yes.
And it wasn't even one of those things where it's like she talks too much or like she wears the wrong color clothes. No, this lady, she chased it. She went hard at trying to get institutionalized.
I mean, he is even telling her what he's about to do.
Yeah. He straight up told her, like, you are about to go away, lady. And she's like, nope, let's escalate.
Oh, you've had this terrible thing happen, and then you saw your husband killed in front of you. Like, run! It's your last chance, run!
Yep.
That was like horror movie. Don't go in the house. Don't open that door. Don't go in the cellar. What are you doing?
It was like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Everybody's on the gas. Nobody's on the brakes. She's just playing wild card the entire way, and it just makes no sense.
And so, yeah, she gets pulled out of there, concern is erupting all over the place, and so then we go from this noisy, chaotic scene into, like, that deadly, deserted quiet of Bill O'Hara's empty house. Except it's not empty.
Yes, because Lucy has returned, and she's sitting at the table to check on old Bill.
And you can just see Bill's heart just go whoop all the way up into his throat. Like, you're here. Part of him was probably sure he was never going to see her again.
Yeah, I imagine there was some relief that would go into not seeing her again. And that, so it's a real mixed bag of like, Well, now I'm getting called to
Right.
the carpet right now. I gotta atone for my, he's at the atonement part. He's gotta atone for what he's done. But by the same token, he's not done fucking up. So
No.
he can't. He's not ready. He's not ready
Yes,
to make that
yes.
move. So he's shitting his pants.
Which is a pity because he doesn't have anybody to wash his undies these days.
No, and all the Chinese laundries have been burned down.
It's a twofer. Oh God, it even.
He is gonna have some shitty drawers for a while. Oh boy.
But at least he's not in an insane asylum.
No, because
Like Teddy.
Sophie's now chained down to a bed. And
Penny.
so she's laying on her back. For anybody who has not seen this episode, she's laying on her back, and there are cuffs around her biceps that are chaining her to the bed by her biceps. So she can't grab the cuffs. And it's just filled with screaming women who are all screaming. Then she starts screaming because being sedated and then waking up in a fucking insane asylum would probably be quite jarring, especially since those places were a death sentence.
Yes. Yeah. Like, that was the cleanest insane asylum I have, that is not what they looked like. Like, they were nasty, dirty, stinky. Like, you think a hospital was bad? You wished you were in a hospital if you were in an insane asylum.
They were horrendously underfunded. They had no heat. These people were in a sheet, basically, that they wore for years without washing it. They were desperately mentally ill and chained to things and, beaten all the times. God damn, it was awful. There's a haunted house near here at Penhurst Asylum, which is one of the, worst of the atrocity asylums. And, I don't know. I don't even believe in haunted shit, but, I'm not going in that place. I don't want that bad juju on me. I don't like it.
I'm sure we'll get more into Penny, and that's when I'll talk about some of the reporting that went on around it. But, yeah, people knew these places were bad. To the point, this was 19th century bear baiting in places. If you wanted to go get entertained by seeing something awful, there were places you could buy tickets to go tour insane asylums.
What? So Jesus Christ, I know so here is what I know, which is apparently not right. That there was an undercover, or a woman who went into an asylum as an undercover reporter. Had herself committed and then reported about it. And then people were like, oh, we had no idea that these atrocities were occurring. Let's fix them. But that is untrue.
Well, there were plenty of people who also didn't know, but there were places that you could buy tickets to go see them.
That's like hearing that people would go, Ogden Nash's The Jungle is out, and people would go to they did do that, Jesus Christ. There were slums in the tours in the slums, weren't there?
Yeah.
God almighty. Thank God for the internet. Jesus. People are fucking rough. Speaking of that, Buckley's a Confederate. I called it.
Yes.
And I know that I've seen this. I know I've seen this show before, but I had completely forgotten he was a Confederate.
Yes.
It's just that he was such a scumbag, he had to be Confederate.
And where do we get to see this? What I wrote in my notes was Buckley is out hunting. He's rolling up to sort of the red light district in his closed carriage, and Mai Ling, she knows she can't get him in trouble for, killing prostitutes because they had it coming. But
she's got leverage now.
Speaking of lie of omission,
she's got 3 photographs of him in a Confederate camp holding a Confederate flag in a Confederate uniform.
And I'm guessing it's one of those things. This is one of that it gets worse with the longer that you didn't tell, because lots of people were Confederates and then had to move on with their lives. And so, if
or got statues erected in their honor for whatever fucking reason.
Army bases named after them.
Yeah. Like the place where we train all of our most elite soldiers, they get to honor his name every time that they graduate. That's fun.
And the thing people don't understand is a lot of this was done at the very end of the 19th and the early 20th century as an intimidation measure.
Well, and because after President Lincoln was assassinated, Andrew Johnson, our shittiest president, destroyed America by not enforcing any of the shit that we tried to, when we were trying to force Southerners to be human beings, they refused. Andrew Johnson was like, yeah, fuck it. Just go ahead and let them keep slavery.
That's not for us. No.
They can keep slavery till 1963. That'll be fine. And let's not put that in the history books.
But yeah, I was like, Buckley is out hunting, and and there were a lot of people who had to sort of confess that they were Confederate soldiers, but they're like, dude, I need a job. The war's over. Please let me have this job. And, some people were, taken down that way. But the fact that Buckley's been hiding it this whole time, and now he's the mayor, that is way more shit to get into than, he's murdered some prostitutes. That happens.
Yeah. This would be like if Nazis hadn't fled Germany for Argentina and had just stayed there and be like, I'm the mayor of Berlin. And it's like, bro, you were a Nazi, right?
Yeah.
It would not work out.
Yeah.
So Mai Ling just says, I don't need money. What I need you to do is start prosecuting the Hop Way. Use your cops. Use the law. And that's what you said. He loves, what did you call it? Malicious law?
Lawful evil.
Lawful evil, yes.
Yes, using the rules to cause other people's lives to suck. So, yeah, we'll enforce the laws on our enemies.
I guess it's kind of a malicious compliance with the law.
Yeah, but on other people.
Yeah.
So Dylan Leary, he's like, you know what? I think he is ready, maybe, for the next thing. Like, he seems to have gained a superpower, and maybe the thing he gave up was his family a long time ago. So that sacrifice has already happened to him. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Well, so he walks in as Buckley is telling the cops, we are going to start prosecuting every bullshit crime you can think of. Codes that are so old nobody even knows they exist. He busts them out and he's like, we're prosecuting these. Go to the Hopway places, prosecute them. And then Leary walks in, and here's my theory. Okay. I think he has switched to being a politician because Assam whipped his ass, and he has now lost that, muscle edge. People know he's fallible. And so now he needs muscle on his side because he's not going to be able to keep... Because he basically kept all those people in line with the threat of violence. But now that they know this tiny little Asian man whipped his ass, he's fucked because everybody's going to be coming at his neck. So he's got to pick a different kind of power. And so he declares himself as the head of the Working Man's Party of California.
Oh, yes. Okay, 100%. Because in the first season especially, that was Leary's thing. He kind of would go out and you know what, you need a little bit of a beating, so I'll go out and I'll beat your ass. See, all right, have a beer, I'm still top dog, let's go on. And you're right, in this season he got his face, he won the fight when Sophie showed up, but he still got that bad sucker punch. So that was sort of strike one, and then when Assam takes him down, that's strike two. He's lost, absolutely, he's lost his invincibility. Oh, nice.
And now he's having his rebirth where he, just like you said, you have to lose and you have to figure out another way to succeed because the original way wasn't working. It's exactly like you said again. We got the hero's journey tied all into this.
Boom, boom, boom. And we are not done with Zing.
The best cliffhanger ending to a season ever. Oh my God. First of all, we get Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Do you know what Alcatraz means in Spanish?
I do not know what Alcatraz means in Spanish.
Pelican.
Oh, okay. Which makes a ton of sense because, there's pelicans in that bay.
Yeah. Apparently pelicans nest all over that island, too.
Yeah.
Which is just a rock in the middle of a bay, and you drown if you try to escape it.
Oh, the currents around it are insane.
But guess who's there, and guess who has found a loose bar in his cell?
Dude,
Zing!
He made that bar loose. Talk about somebody he is relentless. That is a relentless human right there.
He hated it loose. Well, also, Alcatraz was not, as we think of it now, a modern prison. This was an old Spanish fort that had been converted into a jail. So these were probably old ass, rusty ass bars because it constant contact with salt water would have definitely
the sea
erode
air.
those bars,
Yeah, that's
right?
gonna
So we're gonna see Zing in season 3, I think.
Yeah, and he is definitely doing sort of the ghost of Genghis Khan thing. Like, you keep trying to kill the guy and he will not die.
See, I totally saw it as Robert De Niro in Fear, or was it Fear?
Cape Fear?
Cape Fear. Yeah, it was Marky Mark in Fear. But it was Robert De Niro in Cape Fear, where he's just working out in prison and he's just like focused on how he's going to get his revenge, doing dips, thinking about hate, doing dips, thinking about hate, doing some pull-ups, thinking about hate. That's him.
I have a hilarious story about that movie. I went and saw it with my friends, and we enjoyed getting just that bejesus scared out of us and everything, whatever. Anyway, when I was teaching early and in a new town and, like, you know, you're just trying to meet people to hang out with, I got picked up by the evangelist cult people. And I didn't...
Ooh!
Yeah! So I didn't
How
realize...
did that happen?
I didn't realize that, you know, it's at the coffee shop, you just start chatting with somebody. It's like, oh, I'm getting together with some friends to have a movie night. Do you want to come?
Was it a male or a female?
Male.
So you got honeypotted too? Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. So anyway, they're like, and I was like, oh, well, what movie? And it was Cape Fear. And so that doesn't make you think you're going to an evangelist, like...
No, that's a rated R movie.
Right. Okay. So anyway, none of these people had seen the movie. I'm like in this room with all these Christian folks, good Christian folks. And the opening of the movie is like the couple in bed together, kind of naked.
Uh-huh.
But like they keep showing their wedding rings. So they're like super married. Like, yeah, these people should be in bed together with each other, right? And they like go over their like semi-naked bodies and they're kind of doing like cute pillow talk, whatever. And they get up and they turn it off. And I started laughing my face off. I'm like, they're super married. Like, you can't even watch, like, really married people screwing around. They're like, this is not the kind of thing we can watch on TV. And I just laughed my face off and left.
How much rape is in the Bible? My God, you think they'd be jonesing for it? Like, we need to see some sex. Like, why isn't this man kicking his daughter out to get her gang raped by those people? What is happening? And like, nope, they're turning it off. That's odd. That's an odd one. I guess they just want to watch Jim Caviezel in his BDSM, his gory BDSM film.
What?
Whip him again.
Blah.
It's weird. It's a weird thing they got going on.
Oh my God. I think that was the first time I ever like actively laughed in people's faces.
Yeah.
But they had earned it.
I got honeypotted in Orlando or Fort Lauderdale on spring break in like 1995 when like there was no evangelical anything on the East Coast. There was I knew of one evangelical church around us, and we were told to cross the street if we were passing that thing because those people were very scary. So we literally crossed the street for evangelical people. So I had no experience with them, and I was in a Denny, and this really cute girl was flirting with me. And I was really impressed with myself, and my friends were all very impressed with me. And then she invited me to church, and I was like, wait, what? And she said it again, and I was like, is that a bar? And she started laughing, and then I started laughing, and I was like, are you church? And she was like, yeah, with the Bible. And she held up a Bible in a Denny's, and I burst out laughing. It was like 2 a.m, and I'm scream laughing at this gorgeous girl. So yeah, you're not the only person who has scream laughed. It's an odd thing because it startles you how it's just unexpected. It's unexpected. It's startling.
Yeah, it's in that category of weaponized niceness that really curdles my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of bless your heart that went on after you left. You know, bless your heart. They're going to pray for you, I bet.
Yeah, and pray for the people who are in the movie and who made the movie. And I was like, and it was a double bill. They were going to watch that and Interview with a Vampire. So, like,
what?
If those are the
what they're going to watch an Anne Rice movie. They're going to watch gay vampires? What in the hell? That's wild. That's wild. That's people who do not know what they're doing.
Understand why I wasn't expecting this to be an evangelical thing.
Why is reading comprehension so low with that crew? They can't even read a movie synopsis? God damn. Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. Anyway.
All right. So what megachurch are you going to be speaking at this weekend?
The one that lets in sarcastic women.
Oh my God! It would be some little man running up with his fist cocked like he's John Wayne gonna punch a woman in a movie. So he's just running up. Except as you get bigger, like as he's running up, he would just screech to a halt like 3 feet away and be like, nope, 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 and run away. I didn't expect her to be that tall.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, that is that's the end of season 2. So what are we going to do between them? You have a couple of movie thoughts. Like, I kind of got to drive the bus between the first 2 seasons. So where do you want to start for this one?
Since we discussed it last week, I think that the next film we should do is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. However, when we do the review, we need to each have an equivalent number of extraordinary gentle people, extraordinary gentle people of the 19th century that actually existed that can kind of fill those roles, maybe? How's that sound?
Ooh, I like that.
Get a 19th century dream team popping.
Yes. The actual Avengers.
Oh, that will be fun. And then what should we do after that? I've picked one, you pick one.
I don't know. Let's get through that one and we'll have some ideas because we kind of have a couple of lists, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
All right.
How about you tell me where to find you on the internets?
I am at Plague of Strength on Instagram and plagueofstrength.com. And today I am not sure what I'm going to post, but it will be dope. How about you?
And you can find me on my other podcast, The History of American Food. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but it's going to be chaos because it's that period of time when America's just fighting everyone. God damn it.
Oh, and we're both in the process of prepping for our podcasting panel. How will people be able to access this when, in retrospect? Because will it still be available online?
Yes, it will be. And I will have to put the links for how to see us talking about how women got out of being manless in different eras.
Yeah, it was a rough go. It was not fun. It was not fun.
Yeah.
At least the stories I have to tell involve a lot of women getting beaten by men. Women who could beat up men getting beaten by men.
But your mind is a strange cage. That's for sure.
Yes. Hopefully at some point I'll be able to interview like Christy Martin, who is a modern woman who is in the exact position of these 19th century women, and try to understand how that works. Because when you're a woman who can kick the shit out of anybody you want, how do you let your husband beat on you? But I guess it's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. But maybe we'll be able to interview a woman like that someday.
Yeah, there are a lot of layers. Anyway. So, we will be back next week with a movie, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and off into the wide world beyond that.
Well, and our dope IRL 19th century Avengers / Extraordinary Gentle People.
Yes. Yes. We'll have to come up with a good name for that. All right.
Yes.
Well, we will see everybody next week with that adventure.
Have an awesome week, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. We're on Instagram at PCG Podcast. And you can always reach out to us by email at pcgpodcasters@gmail.com. And you can find more dope beats like this one from royalraven.com.